Welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast.
You don't know history, you don't know wrestling, you don't know matches.
My belly's just a little big, my hand is just a little big, but brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad.
There is no revolution.
You are truly the future of Lucha Underground.
I got it. How about a little heel turn?
And if they piss somebody, if they took somebody off here, well then, there goes their career.
Well, don't piss anybody off.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. We are happy to have you here for episode 102. This is the wrestling podcast where we review every segment of Raw and give you beautiful people the wrestling news of the week. My name, as always, is Turbo Tony. I don't have a habit of changing it, so it's going to stay that way. And I don't do this show alone. I do it with my partner in crime every single week without fail. He's here, like my superhero sidekick, but that just doesn't do him justice here. Just doesn't. And he is the only man on this show that isn't stoned at this current time. It's Matt Marsander. How are you doing?
Okay, that's like an odd. I wouldn't say you're wrong, but I'm just sort of like, what?
Yeah, I'm pretty out there at the moment. Yeah.
All your painkillers kicking in.
Yeah, before people think, wow, Tony's getting very loose with his announcements of drug use. For people that maybe have been following the, I don't think I put it up on Facebook or anything along those lines, but we have been putting tons of stuff up on the Facebook page. But I went in for a procedure on my leg on Monday, and I've been in loads of pain. I'm in loads of pain now, but as I said, I'm high as fuck. So I'm at the point now where I don't even care. Don't care that it's happening.
It's good.
How about you, Matt? How are you doing?
Well, I'm not high as fuck, so I guess I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Right. Overall, we're high with excitement for this show. That's what we are.
That's it.
That's how we run it.
And I was pretty sure, especially on this, I swear I can't even remember if it was on Raw. I swear there's someone made a high reference. So just sort of like, oh.
Ooh, well, maybe. Who knows? Maybe I don't know. I can't even remember my notes this week. So there you go. Maybe I didn't even take any.
I don't know. All I know, there was many moments just like, shut the fuck up, JP.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much every week, isn't it?
But the thing is, I finished watching Raw like 2 hours ago, and there was like, I have to mention that. I don't remember what it was. It was just, shut the fuck up, JP.
That's the only thing lasting in your mind after that experience. Yeah, fair enough. This episode this week, we are actually recording a lot earlier in the week than we usually do. So this episode is going to be a nice, relaxed. We're going to take our time with some of the topics, and it's going to be a little bit more like our extra reviews that we do, where we're a lot more laid back. But to be honest, I can't really help it because of the extenuating circumstances of the painkillers I'm on. So I'm just going to be chilling out, guys. Go grab a coffee. Chill out with us. As we do this podcast.
Oh, good. Just sit back and relax.
Yeah, exactly, man. I hope you're all having a great time. We're having a great time already. All right, let's go through what's on the show for you there, just so I don't just tell you all to relax for 2 hours, and that would be the most relaxing podcast of all time. No, we've got some interesting things to talk about to get your blood boiling this week. We are going to go over the news this week, which has a few interesting tidbits of information and one very sad bit of information this week. We also got the fan feedback, which includes your questions from last week on episode 101. We also have the NXT, well, I say report card, but it's just going to be talking about a few people on there. We're not actually reporting on anyone in general. Really didn't have the time. I mean, literally, I've only watched NXT today. But have you watched NXT at all?
That's all we know.
You haven't even watched it. But the good thing is a lot of this stuff is things that we can talk about. Matt will still have some insight on that as well. And then we've got our Raw review, the go-home show for Survivor Series, and of course Survivor Series being this Sunday. In fact, because we're doing this early, I may end up uploading this on the Saturday. That way you've got an extra day to listen to this and not rush before the pay-per-view. We're going to do our predictions for that show as well and give our thoughts on the fact that the show doesn't really have a Survivor Series match. So we'll get into a lengthy conversation about that, and obviously the controversy at the end of Raw, which I'm sure more than a few people are interested on our thoughts about, regarding that. So, Matt, is there anything?
I don't know. I think I read somewhere that there is going to be a Survivor Series match.
I don't think they're. I don't know. We'll get to there with the predictions. This is the best time to talk about it. So
It's that whole thing. It's just like, what about this? I don't know. Like, what about this bit for Survivor Series? Still don't know. Are we going to have that? Maybe.
yeah, I mean, I've made quite a few notes in regards to that particular fact. So that's probably going to be the right at the end of the show. We're going to talk a little bit in regards to that. Is there anything you want to go over, Matt, before we begin proceedings this week?
No, I don't think there is anything.
You forgot your Twitter account, didn't you?
I did.
I was testing you. Oh, yes. I say that, I just remembered then after you finished, so I really wasn't testing you. But go on. What's our Twitter handle, Matt, for the masses?
At Talk Wrestle Pod.
It is indeed. And one of the cool things as well, as we said from episode 100, is the 2 weeks now we've been using the new Facebook account. Lots of people have been liking it, getting involved, interacting with us. And that is facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. And all those links are in the description below the video and obviously on the lovely graphics that we have each and every week on the show. And if you guys have been following the Facebook, you could have seen that our shirts arrived this week. Our personal, Matt, yours arrived yesterday.
Yep.
So yeah,
I'm very much looking forward to it.
It looks pretty damn swish. I have to say, it looks good. We will be rocking those at NXT London, and that is less than a month away, people. So we're going to be reviewing that. I don't even know, Matt, if we're going to be reviewing that live or afterwards. I don't even know.
I don't think we'll do. We'll try for live. It's a tough one.
We'll review while we're there. Yeah, that's how we'll do it. I'll bring my laptop in.
Try.
Yeah. No, of course not. But we'll come up with an idea. It might actually mean for that week, considering I'm flying back, it may end up being a review that's part of a regular episode, and we'll have to talk about it there. But obviously, we'll go into that closer to the time once we realise. But enough procrastination. Let's get into the show. Matt, one of the things that we had missed on the night of recording last week's episode was a certain Ronda Rousey losing for the very first time. And people may be asking, well, saying to us, this is the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. Why in the holy hell are you bringing up MMA? Well, anyone who watches wrestling knows that WWE has a massive fucking bulging hard-on for this woman. So, actually, it does have some relevance into pro wrestling, and I felt like talking about it. Let's talk about the loss first of all. So she lost to Holly Holm, who was clearly the better fighter. Matt, did you watch the fight?
I did, yeah.
Clearly the better fighter, wasn't she?
Yeah, hands down. It was just sort of like just dancing around the entire time.
You know, I thought towards the end of the first round you could tell that the match was done by that point. And what I mean by that is that Rousey was so punch drunk that she forgot how to block. She forgot how to move her head.
She had to stand at one point.
She was taking just tons of hits, and it was quite uncomfortable to watch, seeing this woman who had dominated so many get dominated in such a fashion. It was interesting, so to speak. And she's been on the receiving end of a social media wave. I mean, people have been really giving it the full force to Rousey after this loss.
I can't believe it. Just all of a sudden, just like, Rousey, you're shit. And it's just like, what?
Yeah. Now, I've obviously got my own thoughts about it. A lot of people apparently don't like her because they think she's disrespectful, and she's been talking that she's all this and all that lot. I have a different viewpoint on it, that she was a pioneer for women's MMA in general, and she became a popular figure. And it came to the point almost a little bit like a lot of boxers come, where it's not the opponent that she's fighting that gets interest in this. She has to fabricate rivalries out of nowhere and make these statements to sell tickets. That's how I see it going down. I mean, I think UFC and boxing in that situation, in terms of selling a fight, isn't that much different, you know? So
yeah, easily.
But to be honest, you know, we're not here to talk about this. We're talking about how this relates with WWE. Now,
well, how much did they love it at Mania?
Yeah, right. They're big Rousey fans. We know this. I mean, literally the day after she was beaten, WWE were putting up tons of stuff about Rousey, right? I'm sure that they are monitoring the situation very carefully. And now, if Rousey's clever, in my opinion, I would leave MMA now, go do whatever movies that she's got planned to do, because apparently she was going to go on a break after this fight, win, loss, draw anyway.
Yeah.
And do her Hollywood commitments. And I wouldn't go back to MMA. I would do what Lesnar did and just go to WWE, do whatever you want to do, because I firmly believe that Ronda Rousey cannot beat Holly Holm. No matter how much she trains or anything along these lines, I just don't think she can do it. So if she gets a rematch in, let's say, 6 months' time, and gets her ass kicked again, that's her credibility hurt even further.
Yeah.
Right? So, but I do think that she is going to have a rematch. I do think that she will have the rematch against Holly Holm, and then whatever happens from there happens. So, in terms of her maybe possibly going to WWE, if she was under my advice, I'd be telling her go now. Once you're all healed up, once the social media wave has come over, do some of your movie commitments, do some on-screen stuff, build your profile outside of the MMA, so your loss isn't so much fresh in everyone's mind, and then you go, and then they can package you, and she'll be fine. I think that more than likely, regardless of what happens with her next fight against Holm, I think that's her done with MMA, and then she'll go. I think she's going to have one more. I wouldn't tell her to do it, but I think that's what she's going to do.
I think that's what White will probably push for.
Yeah.
It's just like the rematch, and I think they'll love it.
There's a lot of money to be made off that rematch.
But it's quite hazardous.
Yeah, I think one of the things that they want to be building up for possibly is that they might want to do the rematch at UFC 200, which is going to be a big celebration. That's summer of next year. Apparently that's where Punk's having his first fight as well. So, yeah, there's going to be quite a big deal going on there. But, I see maybe another year before Rousey has wrapped her shit up and she maybe goes to WWE. Maybe another year. So I don't see her being in the ring or actively involved. She might make an appearance, but I don't see her signing for WWE.
Yeah, in a competitor's format.
Yeah, for at very least 12 months going on here. So that's the way I see it. And people may have misconstrued what I meant by my statement on the Facebook page. I'm sure WWE was shoring up their offers and monitoring the situation, but it wasn't so much like they were trying to snatch her out straight after the loss. They're monitoring how things go. I'm sure their offer now for Rousey would have dropped a little bit because her stock drops with losing. So that's just the natural way of how you go as a fighter along these lines, and your profile and how you're sold to the public. So quite interesting there. But yeah, I think 12 months. Do you reckon 12 months at very least that she won't be in WWE for now?
I will put that down as a fair estimate.
Yeah. And yeah, obviously we said what do you think, Matt? Do you think she got any chance of winning that rematch if she wants to go for it?
No.
No.
Unfortunately, Holm really had her number.
The one thing that she has on there as well is that she's got reach as a fighter. I don't know much about fighting.
She's tall though, yeah.
Yeah, she's tall. She's got reach. She's got a good wingspan. Those are the sort of things that Rousey kind of doesn't have, and all those holes in her in her striking. It kind of all wraps up there. She's a judo fighter by heart, isn't Rousey?
Rousey is, yeah. Well, she's the Olympic judo, isn't she?
Exactly, yeah. So, but all the wave of social media and stuff towards her, by the way, I thought that was very. I was very shocked at the level that was that's been thrown her way. To be honest, almost like everyone was waiting. Well,
the one thing I loved is I read somewhere that one of the Vegas hotels had to close for an hour because they couldn't afford all the payouts. Because they were just like shit.
yeah, it's quite bonkers, really, if you think of it that way. But going on to slightly sadder news, Nick Bockwinkel passed away over the course of this week. It has been a shit year for wrestling. I think I can say that outright with the list of people that we've lost over the course of 2015. It's not been a good year, has it, Matt? It's been...
No, it's been a difficult one.
It's been difficult. Now, no disrespect to Nick Bockwinkel, of course, but he is a guy that not many of this generation, and dare I say it, the last generation, myself and Matt included, that would know much about. I mean, most of his stuff, most of his career was done in the AWA, which is basically nothing now.
Yeah.
And it was back in, we're talking about the 70s and 80s. He had his retirement match the year before I was born, so that kind of puts in perspective.
Yeah.
If you don't know who he is, I'm not going to blame anyone for that. But in the same breath of what I know from him, obviously he's a legend, right? He's a world champion in his own right, very charismatic, and someone whose ring psychology, dare I say it, was probably ahead of its time. Obviously, I'll leave it to more educated people around about that period to make more of a an overall synopsis of his career, I don't feel like I am. I don't know, capable is the word. I don't think I have the right to, to talk about him in a great breadth. Because to be honest, guys, I don't know that much. I haven't caught many of his matches. It's quite hard to find footage of Nick Bockwinkel because it is of a generation that unfortunately not a lot of people know of.
Yeah.
You think of the likes of some of the other people that we lost over the course of this year. You're looking at Piper, Dusty Rhodes. These are people that, sure, they may have retired not too long after, maybe, along those lines, but well, not even then. They've had matches, into the generation that myself and Matt watched wrestling and along these lines. So it's a little bit closer to what we know, but
yeah,
it's certainly. Let's just touch wood right here that we lose no more wrestling legends over the course of this year. That would be kind of great, right?
Yeah, not much longer left of the year, and hopefully we can just ride it through.
Yeah, wrap these son of a bitches in bubble wrap, and let's just get through this year without any more, because it's getting pretty bad at this point. So, any fans of Bockwinkel, obviously a hard week for them, and WWE did a classy thing of putting something up on their show to talk about that as well. And that's the news. Of course, if there's any that we don't catch over the course of this week, because we are recording earlier, then of course we'll catch all that next week. We don't miss anything. We'll catch anything that we want to talk about, and we'll get in next week. So next week's looking to be a bumper episode, shall we say. And you know what the week is after that, ladies and gentlemen? That's the 2nd year anniversary of the show and the Let's Talk Wrestling Awards. So,
that's it. What's it going to be?
Looking good on the horizon, man. I found it really hard to say the sentence. That's the painkillers. That's the painkillers doing it. Two guesses to who we're going to pick for Women of the Year. I think it's pretty damn obvious. The other ones maybe not so much, but I think people know who we're going for with Women of the Year, as per our rant on the PWI women's list a couple of weeks ago. Fan feedback, Matt. We've got a few interesting questions this week, and of course, if you guys do want to send any messages and become part of the Marsander Mafia, you can send Twitter questions to the handle of
at Talk WrestlePod.
That's very good. You do it better than Michael Cole, Matt.
Oh yeah, see, not as easy as just going hashtag Raw.
Just saying it over and over. Yeah.
Hashtag Money in the Bank. Hashtag, I don't know, what's it Money in the Bank for?
Just random, yeah. Or you've got the fact that Michael, with you, it's not the quantity, it's the quality of how you spam the Twitter handle, isn't it? You do it just a couple of times in the show. That's more than enough. Michael Cole just doesn't have the same impact as you when he does it.
Don't forget hashtag.
Matt's like smooth silk with his Twitter taggering. Well, man, I'm getting my tongue in a twist there.
Going a bit Booker T on us.
Just a little bit, yeah. To be honest, yeah. I was going to start spouting stuff, with my mouth moving faster than my head, and we all know where the train of this show tends to topple off when we go that way. So, anyway, let's get back on tracks. Kane St. Dennis asks, who do we think is the biggest missed opportunity for a WrestleMania match with The Undertaker other than Sting? So who else is the biggest missed opportunity for an opponent for Taker other than obviously in the missed one with him and Sting?
Yeah.
Do you have any guesses? For me, it was quite easy, this one.
What? Guessing your choice?
Look, you can guess my choice or give yours.
I don't think there's anyone who's had the missed opportunity.
I think there's one. And obviously I'm going to tell you exactly who it is.
Right.
If the streak was still alive, let me precursor this. If you do this match now, I don't believe it's worth anything, really. But if it was done when the streak was alive, and let's say it was 5 years ago, when a certain someone was basically just being hand-gifted accomplishment after accomplishment, winning rivalry after rivalry, then you could have John Cena go against Undertaker at WrestleMania to try and beat the streak. And you'd have this cool dynamic where the fans are obviously they're going to be totally against Cena because they're going to be like, don't.
I was going to say, they have
Cena
wrestled,
win.
but yeah, they haven't at Mania.
They haven't at Mania, yeah. And they haven't wrestled each other for God knows how long now.
12 years?
Oh yeah, must. I mean, they possibly only wrestled each other at the start of Cena's career, possibly, and maybe a few ones here and there. I don't know.
Must have been.
But I think that would have. I mean, obviously Cena would be going into that, not so much heel, but with everyone against him. But I thought it would be quite a cool dynamic, because you could build a lot of drama in that match where you've got fans like myself and Matt going, are they really going to give him the streak? They've given him everything else. It's John Cena. He's the golden boy. Are they actually going to give him the streak?
Yeah.
And then I think there's quite a bit of drama that they could make with a well-designed match to come out of that. But that was obviously something that never happened. And unlike some people, I honestly think having a Cena take a match now is kind of pointless. That's, to me.
Yeah.
Really, is there any point having a Cena take a match now? What's there to prove?
I think, I don't know, I think Cena Taker would be the only fitting sort of Taker retirement.
I don't know. I'm a little bit less receptive now. I think they missed their chance. As soon as Brock broke that streak, I think they missed out on the chance to have that Cena match. But they chose to. Each to their own. I'm sure some people get excited about an Undertaker Cena match. Myself, not so much. Not so much. They'd have to do a good story with it, and I just don't think there is much of a good story you could do with those two characters, with nothing on the line, really. I don't.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't know. OMT Lego educates us, saying that The Undertaker has been on late-night talk shows before, and he's completely correct. He has. Our assumption last week that Taker made his debut on late-night talk shows was way off. And I think that's me. I think I'm the one who said that, so I will say certainly don't.
I just couldn't have believed it.
Yeah,
if we're wrong, we're wrong.
Yeah, we're wrong. Oh, believe me, we're very wrong, because one of the things I was like, okay, let's have a look at this up. Literally typed it into YouTube, bang, first thing comes up. I think he was on the Jimmy Kimmel show with as the American Badass, that gimmick, and he was doing stuff for WrestleMania 17, I think, maybe 18.
See, I guess as the American Badass, it makes sense.
Yeah,
but like I wouldn't stick the dead man on like national TV. Yeah. So, like, what do you think about what's going to happen? Like, oh, the big pay-per-view's around the corner.
Yeah.
This Sunday. It's like, oh no, it's going to kill.
No, to be honest, I think there was the bulk of his other appearances on these sort of shows are bits where they're doing, skits and sketches where he's the scary guy in that gimmick. When he was the American Badass, obviously he can go in, and he's actually very good in that environment. He's very witty and quite a funny guy once you've got him in that situation. But yeah, he's had a few of them. This certainly is obviously his first one in God knows how long, but it isn't his first one. So yeah, we're clearly wrong with that. And I shake my head in disappointment to myself. I will take 10 lashings, please. 10 whips of Hulk Hogan's weight lifting belt. As you always used to take it off and whack people with it. So
that's true.
Yeah. Elliot says that RVD would be the best neighbour. This is in relation to our question last week. And Baron Corbin would be the worst. Now, I think that if you're into weed and getting high, which seems to be the theme of this show, RVD would obviously clearly be able to hook you up. I mean, he does like his weed. Does RVD? He's a big fan of it. It wasn't that there was rumours of him wanting to move to one of the states that had legalised it or something like that. Or,
yeah, I think there was talks along those lines.
Or if it was a joke or something. To be honest, I would believe it if that came out. I'm making it seem like a proper weed head, but he's not exactly been quiet about his like of having a good smoke every now and then, but still. And Corbin, probably, I don't know, he's probably come off like a bit of a prick, but he'll probably keep to himself a little bit, I'd say. Maybe, you always see him driving around on his bike, maybe he'd be revving it.
Antisocial bastard, yeah.
Yeah, maybe along those lines, I don't know. But, yeah. I don't think he would be nearly as bad as the boogeyman escaping his front room door with dry ice and humping the ground as he goes into his car and the drive and everything. That might be a little bit more extreme. No, I wouldn't want to see that shit at 8:00 in the morning when I'm about to put the bins out.
I'm the boogeyman, and I'm coming to get you. Yeah. Shopping
And I'd be exiting my front room, my front door of my house every day and stepping on glass because he can't go anywhere without smashing a clock over his head. So,
Shit.
you know, that may be a little bit worse, you know, so. Just the idea of me shouting at the boogeyman to scrape up his glass and, you know, all that lot.
Just like throwing a dustpan and brush at him.
That's it. I would do that shit. I'm not dealing with that with glass. You know, it's dangerous. I've got kids to look after, you know? Boogeyman. Got no time for the boogeyman. Okay then, Matt, you have not watched... Oh, by the way, just to say again, if you want to send any questions into the fan feedback, then, of course, you can send it on the Twitter handle, our Facebook page, and obviously in the comments section below, which seems to be the hub for all our questions. And anything that we miss over the course of this week, again, we'll catch you next week. We don't miss any questions. We'd love to catch it then. So, Matt, we're moving on to NXT this week.
Okay.
You didn't watch it this week.
Nope.
Are you okay? Are you?
I was going to say, I know of one thing that's going to be happening next week.
Okay. Well, are you okay with me at least spoiling some of the matches for you?
Yeah, crack on.
To be honest, you kind of knew what they were going to be anyway. Let's just be honest, all right? Let's talk a little bit about Gable and Jordan. Because we love talking about those guys here. Jesus. We're going to be marking out big for them in a month's time. I guarantee you that. We really will. They went against the Ascension this week. It wasn't the best match that Gable and Jordan have had. The one they had against Ciampa and Gargano was far superior, but it was still alright. Obviously, Gable and Jordan got the win, but the Ascension loving the fact that the NXT crowd actually liked them, whereas anyone on the main roster...
I was going to say, please tell me that they actually put on a good show.
Oh, it was alright. It was certainly... I mean, the fans were into the Ascension. Jesus, they were loving it.
I keep seeing this picture today, which is like... It shows the Ascension on NXT and then on Raw, and it's like, what is it? It's like better to serve in heaven than live in... better serve in hell than live in heaven or something like that. And it's just like, they're in NXT, they're like on top of the fucking world. And then they're on Raw, jobbing out to veterans.
Yeah, they're jobbing out to everyone, to be honest.
Well, yeah.
I can't even remember.
It's like I didn't even watch their match this week on Raw. I was like, oh, against the Dudleys. I give it about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Skip.
Yeah, I mean, it's the funny thing about the Ascension is that like they've lost so many matches now. Like it kind of looks along the lines of I think they had a match this week as well on Raw.
They did against the Dudleys.
I guess as you
and
say,
I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Couldn't.
But it looks like Heath Slater could do pretty well against these guys in a handicap match. That's how bad it's kind of getting for these guys, really. I mean, come on. They're supposed to be... I don't even know if they are allied with Stardust, if they're not allied with Stardust, because he's never with them when they're having matches, and it just seems strange. I'm not sure, to be honest. But I don't think the main roster knows what to do. I don't think they care, really, what they do with these guys, but there you are. But Gable and Jordan, they get a win. They're getting over. Well, they are over. Come on, guys. They're Gable and Jordan.
Getting over?
They've already succeeded. One thing I will say about this match, though, is that it showcased not so much what Gable can do, but when Jordan puts down those straps and goes full on Jason Jordan mode, goes Super Saiyan on us, it's cool. It's really fun and it gets the crowd going. And he was the star of this match, at very least, was Jordan. Showing everyone that Gable's cool, Gable's awesome, but so is he. He's right there with him at the moment. Some people sell Jason Jordan a little bit short, but I don't know about you, Matt. I'm just as high on him as I am.
Oh yeah, I'm still good for Jordan.
Yeah. He's the guy. He's the guy, and he's got charisma. He's got more charisma than Shelton Benjamin had, in my opinion, because I know that comparison's going to be made. And Gable certainly, you don't really have to do that much to get more charisma than Charlie Haas. So I think they're far better off. And then Bayley had her title match against Alexa Bliss.
That's it. I saw it on Facebook, which was quite good. It's just like Alexa Bliss was blissed off. Like WWE is so funny and laughing at themselves.
That's right. But I will say that I actually feel quite bad for Alexa Bliss this week. Not by all no means am I saying she should have won the title, but I was under the impression that she was having her big coming out match at the event in London. No?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, they're not going down that route anymore. This is Bliss done by the looks of me. She's just done with the title picture. So she was put in just to fill in the gaps, which I thought was quite weird because now they've only got like 3 weeks to set up a new rivalry for Bayley for London. I thought that was quite odd that the build up to this match, the Alexa Bliss match, has been longer than the new build up going into the big event. Seems a bit odd to me. But who knows? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because NXT more than often get it right.
The one thing I'm worried about is the fact that I saw something like apparently next week's going to be Bayley versus Eva Marie.
Yeah, for the belt. Yeah. Oh yeah.
If we get fucking Eva Marie in London, that's it.
Yeah. Now, I've said before that WWE needs to be genuinely careful what they do. And maybe they realise this because maybe, let's say Eva Marie wins the championship next week in Full Sail. And maybe they do the return match at London, yeah? If they had done the match where Eva Marie beats Bayley and they'd done it at London, there would have been a riot. They really would. Like, people would not have, you know, as in they would have had to have protected her Sergeant Slaughter style out of that arena before she got killed. Honestly, like, people would have gone nuclear. They really would. It would have been one of the most negative, heat-filled reactions in WWE history. If they
That's it. It's like, oh, they're reacting. Oh, no, they're not. Well, they are. They're pissed.
Yeah. You'd have to get both of these women out of the ring before the English people tear it apart. They would have gone mental. So
I was going to say, you say would have. Nothing's concrete yet, Tony. It hasn't happened yet.
I know. Oh, I know. Believe me, I'm just saying. But maybe. I think this is more likely leading up to a Nia Jax match if this is the way they're going. Or they just do, like I said, the return match and have Bayley win it back in London. I don't know. But the thing that I found was so bad about this, you've got Alexa Bliss leaving the ring, having been beaten. Her storyline is over, right? Finished, done. And then you're going to look at the situation now where Eva Marie is now the number one contender, apparently, for the Divas Championship. Sorry, but Eva Marie she's so far higher up in the ladder than her skill dictates. I feel bad for Alexa Bliss that she's being pushed aside for this woman.
Yeah.
You know?
To be fair, I think the same could be said for quite a few women on the roster.
Yeah. Eva Marie should be on the bottom of that rung.
I know Asuka's like in another story, but she comes before Eva Marie.
I would happily take Dana Brooke over Eva Marie in this situation.
Not Preston. What was her fucking name?
What?
Like one of the Aussie birds.
Oh, like, Peyton Royce or something like that. Yeah.
Like, I'd much rather that than fucking Eva Marie.
Yeah. Obviously, they're trying to fast track her through
If she wins, there will be all red everywhere.
Yeah. In London, if she had won her debut championship against Bayley in London, I guarantee you the place would have been ripped apart. There would have been a riot. It would have been crazy. And maybe that's why they're doing the match next week. Maybe they're not planning to. Maybe they're doing this to make people like us talk about it. But
yeah, maybe we're just getting worried.
Yeah. Eva Marie shouldn't be anywhere close to that belt, as according to her, you know, because she's nowhere near able to pull off main event matches. She's barely able to pull off matches.
I was going to say, she's still not even confident enough with a fucking finisher.
Yeah, you know, so... But maybe this builds up to a Nia Jax match. Maybe this builds up to a thing where Alexa Bliss is still involved and they go Fatal 4-Way, Nia Jax, Eva Marie, Alexa Bliss and Bayley. And that way Eva Marie doesn't really have to get involved that much or something.
I still don't really want to see a Jax match, but okay.
It just seems to be the way that they're teasing it at very least. I'm not sure.
I'm very picky now. I expect, like, I've been given quality over these past few years when it comes to the NXT Women's Division, and I expect quality, damn it.
Yeah. I hope, anyway, for absolute sure, that Alexa Bliss gets her chance. I really do. I think, we said it before, we've even spoken to it with some of our fans saying this should be her moment. London should be the moment where she is looked at in the same vein as Becky Lynch and all these women that became a new star out of it. But it just obviously doesn't seem like it's to be. If she's going to be involved, it will be in a multi-woman match, and I think that's a shame. I honestly think that she deserved it, to be honest. But still, it is what it is, and we'll see how this builds up next week. So that's NXT. There was a few other matches. Samoa Joe, by the way, is excellent on the mic. I really do think that guy is so underrated as a mic worker. It's unbelievable. The intensity in his promos. It's fun. It really is. As a bad guy, I'm looking forward to that match, that main event. The way that the card looks like it's going, in my eyes, is that they're going to build up to a tag title match with Dawson Dash and Gable Jordan. That's how I think it will go. Because they're having a rematch against the Vaudevillains next week. Maybe they keep attacking the Vaudevillains. Gable and Jordan come in. They've been on a streak anyway. They've been beating people. If there was a number one contender, they would be it.
And I approve of that.
And of course we approve. You have to have Gable and Jordan having a match on that show. You have to. You've got Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. That seems like a lock. I'm okay with that. That's fine.
Yep.
Joe and Finn Balor obviously is the main event. They've already started doing the graphics for that main event, and I'm more than happy that being the main event. I think that they could have a great match, those two. So.
Oh yeah.
The card is shaping up a little bit. We'll see how where they're going to go with the Divas, not the Divas, the Women's Championship. And a few other little matches here and there, and they might do what they did in Brooklyn, where they air an episode of NXT that's done before the main show. You know what I mean? Is that they're going to have a few other matches with the lesser guys. So it'll probably be like 3 hours for us in the building, almost like Superstars before Raw sort of thing. That's pretty much probably what they're going to do. So I'd expect them to do that anyway.
Damn it, Superstars. They tricked us.
If we get any luck, maybe Enzo and Cass will be back by that point, and we can have a good moment with them in London. So many NXT people, NXT stars that I love to see. It's awesome. We're gonna have so much fun. It's gonna be crazy. The three of us, because our friend Craig, who's coming with us, who got us those tickets, he was the one who spearheaded all that, so he's going to be with us there. He's lucky he's not getting a microphone shoved in his mouth, by the way, for a review later down the line, by the way, as he's going with us. So there you go. Matt, are you ready to do the Raw review?
Yeah, I think we're about ready to step into the Raw territory.
We are indeed. Now, I have to admit, I don't know where this show took place. Do you know where this Raw took place?
No.
The reason why I say this is because I think it was one of the few Raws where they didn't make a statement into regards. They didn't make many statements in regards to where they were, or they didn't even do the little bracket at the start of the show. So I don't know where they did it this week. So sorry, can't say for sure. But still, it is the go home show for Survivor Series. Survivor Series being this Sunday. And obviously there is a small little matter of the World Championship title tournament. That is the skeleton of this show. And guys, the shows all the Raws leading up to Raw this month have been good. I know.
It's crazy.
Matt, are you picking your jaw up off the floor? Shocking, right?
It's been tough. It's almost been like I'm just expecting garbage. This isn't garbage.
I know. But here's the thing, Matt. Here's one of the things that can happen. The usual formula over the case of WWE this year is that all the Raws are shit, but the pay-per-views are pretty decent, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we're in Bizarro land and all these would be great, but the pay-per-view will actually be a pile of crap. Maybe. Might be that. Who knows? Or maybe for WWE it's great and they've got a great month under their belt and we give them a round of applause for it. So
that's it.
But the real question is, was this go-home show any good? And obviously we're going to review it there. The tale of this show was 4 matches. 2 of them were downright excellent, and one of them was a 5-star match. Pay-per-view worthy, so obviously we're going to that.
I'm curious as to which one you pick.
Because there's 2 of them that were outstanding, in my opinion.
There were some very good matches.
Oh, very, very good. And filled with one of the matches at least were with 2 people that wouldn't ordinarily be wrestling each other, and that's why I like this tournament and doing these number 1 contendership matches, because it creates opportunities where 2 guys that, just because they're on the same side of the fence in terms of being a face or a heel, 2 heels will wrestle each other in a tournament like this. 2 faces will wrestle each other in a tournament like this. So it's completely fine, and you're seeing these interesting matchups which WWE just don't do. right? So they're giving us some new stuff, and it's good. It's entertaining.
Change?
Mm.
This is change. This is different.
I know. With matches that means something. They've been listening to us, Matt. With more,
Exciting.
We've been begging for number one contender. I think it was quite funny that someone asked us what would we change in the philosophy of Raw to make it more interesting and to make it mean
Number
more.
one contender, damn it!
Yeah.
Oh, now we've got like a proper tournament and everything.
Yeah.
Like we had a fatal 4-way, and now we've got a tournament.
I really think WWE's listening to our shit, Matt. I'll take that. Any
Right.
day. One of the writers. Just reveal yourself. We know you're in our midst, stealing our ideas. It's fine. More than likely, it's my delusions of grandeur again, and it's just coincidence. But
Yeah.
still, if we don't believe, then there's no, it'll never happen. That's
As
the way
long
it is.
as we believe in unicorn magic.
Exactly. You exactly, Matt. That's right. Have you got? I've put my finger on my head. Have you?
My finger firmly on the forehead.
Firmly with everyone now. Unicorn powers. We can do this. I still think we're going to hit 1,000 subs by the end of next year, by the way. But
Yeah, that's fine.
we're probably going to. Well, actually, I will say it right now. We will hit 500 by the end of this year, which is just absolutely bonkers. I need to go back and listen to the 1 year anniversary show and see how many we had back then, just for general growth. Because I don't think. I mean, it must have been like 100 or something back then.
Oh, I couldn't even recall.
Like 400 subs in a year. I'm basically massaging our own ego here, but still. So the show begins with a moment of silence for the victims and the families of the Paris terror attacks. And to be fair, there's been a lot of horrific incidents occurring across the globe over the course of this week. I think there was a earthquake in Japan, I believe, or is that right?
I can't remember if it was Japan. But I know that I know Mexico was struck.
Yeah, they had something.
There's quite a few different things. Like there's like you've got Paris, but then you've also got it's like there were other terror attacks and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's still stuff going in on Paris. They had that raid in Paris to go and attack some of the people involved with the bombings and the terrorist attacks that happened there. So yeah, it's been one of those weeks where a lot of these stories have come to the forefront. So obviously our thoughts were there, anyone involved with that sort of situation. I do firmly believe, and this is me getting a little bit philosophical, I do firmly believe that in the end, good people are good people, and they'll eventually overcome this sort of stuff. I don't think there is any space for this sort of evil in the world. I think eventually what I'm saying is eventually I think the good in the world will overcome the evil and testify and all that sort of
The
garbage.
world always needs a good heel.
How do you get past if there is no future? That's the painkillers talking right now.
I was going to say the painkillers are forcing the ramble, aren't they?
Yeah, they are a little bit. They are a little bit. I'm thinking now. Anyway, let's move on before I ramble any further.
Sidetrack yourself again.
Yeah. Before WWE decide to give me a wellness policy test, and I will certainly fail that test at the moment. So I feel bad for someone that listens to this halfway through, just skips the introduction, and is like, "Why is Tony so baked? What the fuck's going on? Is he really that bad?" And they just don't realise that there's a full explanation of the reason why that is the case. But still. So Druids, Matt, the Druids come bumbling into the arena, obviously foretelling the arrival of the Brothers of Destruction. Oh yes, Kane and Undertaker come down with Undertaker chants, and
Yep.
Kane must be feeling a little bit left out. No chants for him.
It's like this isn't even just like no one's chanting me. This isn't my music.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Ugh.
Oh well, I guess that's what you get for being the little brother. I guess he's
Yeah.
been around long enough to know he's little brother. He's little brother.
He knows his place.
Yeah, exactly. Taker says they are the true army of darkness. I wanted Ash Williams to jump out at that point, but obviously that would have broken a little bit of immersion. But still, the new Ash vs Evil Dead series is excellent, by the way. Do recommend it. He says no man, living or dead, can contain the power of the dark side. Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, like when I was listening to that, it's like, ooh, That's a nice plug, considering everything that's coming soon.
Yeah. Harrison Ford had been the celebrity of this week. It wouldn't have seen that out of place, really, would it? You know. So, yeah, I mean, Kane does have like a Vader-esque mask. Remember when he first came back? You know, that mask he used to wear over his mask. Maybe you should have rocked that out and gone the full 9 yards with it. Oh yeah, and they summon their Jedi lightning powers as well. So you know that's something quite impressive. You know, that's quite cool. Kane says the Wyatts will burn in eternal damnation, and then Taker says that their evil has been tested by time, and he demands that the Wyatts offer a family member as a sacrifice. Basically, what they're saying is who's going to be your tag team partner at Survivor Series for the tag team match that they're going to have. And they will never, Matt. They will never rest in peace. He says, "Wow, you really dong on pissed off the Undertaker."
Bold. Yeah, that's it. It's got bold words now.
It's the Undertaker's job to make sure people rest in peace. Wow, you've gone too far this time. You've gone too far.
That's it.
That's right. For you know why he's really pissed, Matt? I know why he's pissed because the Undertaker beat him at WrestleMania, and Wyatt just acted as if nothing happened. I'm still the new face of fear.
It's like, I'm still around. It's like, no, you're not, motherfucker.
I beat you. You can't be calling yourself this shit, you know? That's why he's angry. Of course he is. Wyatt comes out with his family in tow, using their own Wyatt magic. Lots of magic in this, by the way. And he says 25 years of The Undertaker being in control is long enough. And he says that the Brothers of Destruction will only be remembered as the brothers that Wyatt destroyed. Then he used his Jedi powers to summon more lightning. And also, Matt, he's gained a new power. Did you know this?
I didn't.
So you know the Jedis have the power to make people do things at their will. You know.
Oh yeah.
Indoctrination, I think, is probably a good word of it. He's got those powers. He indoctrinates all of the druids to go and fight for him, which is quite powerful. Don't know how he did. How he
all of a sudden, it's like you all have like masks. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ka-dunk.
Yeah. I'll tell you how he did it though, Matt. I know how he managed to persuade every single one of those druids. Do you want to know how?
How so?
Well, he offered them a chance to listen to our podcast earlier than everyone else, and they couldn't. They had to turn on Undertaker. It was too much of a good reward. But he was fooling everyone because it gets released the same time for everyone. So I don't know what to say to those druids, but
sorry
about that. So the druids, with all their magic, are basically just black lycra suit jobbers, essentially. I found it quite funny that one of the druids got choke slammed and his hood came off, and literally all it is just a man with like a fucking black lycra suit, one of the morph suits.
Yeah, like a morph suit and a mask. Like.
Yeah. So they're quickly dispatched. Wyatt just laughs and says, "Follow the buzzards." Now, Matt, I've already stated that I'm not a fan of the supernatural powers and all this stuff. That's why I made more references to it.
Okay.
On the review here. But maybe it's my age. It just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't reach me anymore. I'm kind of. It comes off as silly. I said this when they started this before. I don't know. Hell, if their special effects were a little bit better, maybe that would help. The fact they didn't look like clip art when they used it, but still is that. But I don't know, Matt. What do you think of this? I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it.
This whole thing? Nah, not so much. I think it's probably because it's not like the one thing I'm struggling with this whole thing is it's not a set rivalry of like what we don't know until Survivor Series. They haven't announced the two members of the Wyatt family competing, but it's just sort of like, oh, our beefs with Bray Wyatt, they've taken our powers and things like that, and as Wyatt's like, ha, you might not like. I don't want to fight you. Strowman, Harper, get him.
Yeah.
It's just like, but our beef's like with the Wyatt, with the whole family. But it's just sort of like, no, motherfucker, come here.
Are you at very least excited for the match they're gonna have?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's Brothers of Destruction. I gotta be excited for it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested because it's Undertaker. Let's just be honest. But
nostalgia has set in, and I will admit that I did quite like watching the Rollins-Kane match to begin with. like I've said it before, it's just because he's quite nice. Like Kane can still go.
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly thought they were going to go the full. I thought this was going to be the Survivor Series match. I thought they were going to go elimination. Maybe they bring in Ambrose offers his services, but obviously things change. Maybe that was the plan. I don't know. But no, obviously now it's just a 2-on-2 tag team match, and it isn't even elimination.
That's it. I mean, I think it's kind of difficult because, like, to try and use that as the Survivor Series match, everyone's just like, it'd be ideal. It's like, do you really, like, can you really imagine, like, The Undertaker and Kane going around backstage, just like, want to be on our team?
Yeah, I get you.
I control hell.
Yeah, I thought it would be people approaching them with the opportunity. You know, like I want in on Wyatt family. You know, it would be an honor. You know, and all this. Like, no, they're doing this. I don't know. They obviously wanted to go down this line, and that's what they're going to do. I'm just not feeling it. The whole storyline. I've already explained it. I thought the Wyatts were more scary. They were more impactful when they were doing stuff that really creepy families could do without the use of fucking dark magic and all this stuff. Yeah. Now it's like I have the power to summon lightning at my disposal, and I'm far beyond that. I'm not a kid anymore where I can more easily suspend my disbelief and think, oh, he is actually supernatural. You know, that's why I think the Undertaker's gimmick nowadays just wouldn't fucking work. You know, it's because he's a legend now that people get behind him, and Kane, he's a legend. He's been around forever. People respect his field of work. I don't think they're really sold on his character per se. You know, but
I don't know. We're definitely talking about two people who are going to end up in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, clearly. There'll be a wing dedicated to the Undertaker. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He deserves it. Fucking hell, does he not? He has been a frontline soldier for WWE. Vince McMahon should give him everything that he deserves. Honestly, seriously. Especially as being so loyal to WWE that Undertaker's been as well throughout all the hardships that he's had. Yeah, I honestly think that he's one of those people that should have a statue made after him. Honestly, in the.
Yeah.
And I would do it while he's still alive, so you don't miss the chance. I'm not saying Undertaker's going to die soon. I think he'll live a long life, but do it while don't do it with the Ultimate Warrior and stuff like this that you wanted to do it. You know, after they're gone and they can't see themselves immortalized, right? Do it now. You know, that's what I would do. But still, I will give this some props though, Matt. It didn't have the authority in the opening segment, so it gets points for that. This opening segment. No authority.
No authority. Instant win. Maybe a bit long. Maybe a little bit long.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to be honest, it went over 15 minutes, but it could have been worse. It was alright. Kevin Owens versus Neville. This was an excellent pick to start off your pro wrestling show. I thought, if there is a match that I would love to explain to people, what sort of match is a show opener? A curtain jerker, as they're called. I know it's not so much here because you've had the opening segment, but a match to set the tone for the rest of your show. On any show, by the way, not just Raw, pay-per-views as well. This is a textbook example of how you do that sort of match.
Yeah,
I thought this match was fantastic.
I thought it was a great match, and I was dreading. I was like, oh, Neville's just going to get chewed, and it wasn't the case at all.
No.
It was really good because it was even a point where we got a "This is awesome" chant because there was a lot of near falls. It gave Neville that opportunity to show more than what we've seen at the moment as well.
It reminds you a little bit more of his NXT matches, didn't it?
Well, that's it, because I was just sort of like, hold on. Like, we've had these matches before for title belts.
Yeah. Yeah, funnily enough, Owens and Neville had a very similar match when Neville was having one of his last matches in NXT in general, remember?
Yeah.
So, there is that, and, yeah, I mean, when you give Neville time and the free reign to do snap German suplexes and second rope Phoenix splashes, I'll quote a bit of South Park here in a different sort of way. You're gonna have a good time, okay?
That's it.
In general, that's what's gonna happen. And Owens, you know, to his own degree, he did great here. I thought that this is Owens almost like they woke him up, someone slapped him and reminded him you're a world-class wrestler, and you've just been, well, you basically the storyline has made it so you've just been doing nothing much impressive over the last couple of months.
Stop being a pussy.
Yeah, go out there and go with some guy that you know you can definitely pull out a really great match with, and guess what they did?
Yep.
I honestly I thought this match, I think it's that good. I would use it as an example, a textbook example of how you open any show at all. This would work as an opener. And I'll tell you what, Matt, it had good length to it, but it wasn't over long. It was just action-packed. It was, as you say, near fall, good wrestling. Neville going all over the place. Owens trying to... It was just... I thought this match was exemplary.
It was great.
I honestly did. So Owens does... he lands a pop-up powerbomb that absolutely folds Neville in half. He was obliterated, really. Destroyed.
It's like the one thing I loved seeing, actually, is like, for the proper powerbomb, is like that weird... No, it's not really a DDT. But it's like... Oh, what is it?
What do you mean?
I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. You know when he was always almost like going for a Hurricane Rana, but it's backwards, and it's pretty much like a...
Oh, yeah. Like the...
Like
I think they call it when they do it on the top rope, they call it the Frankenstein. I don't know how you'd call it... standing, no one ever did it that way, but yeah, it's basically like, I guess some people call it like an inverted hurricane. I don't even know, but yeah, but that was used in that match, which Neville's barely used that on the main roster.
That's it.
But Owens does get the win, the IC champion, moving on to the semi-finals. Now that is a way you start off your show, ladies and gentlemen. That was, I was like, yes, all right, fair enough, you've got me.
This is how we do it.
This is how you do it. Awesome, great stuff. While commentary are talking about the Divas contract signing, which happens at the end of the show, was actually the last segment of this Raw. JBL then speaks about Paige's first night on the main roster, saying that she won the Divas Championship while being the NXT Women's Tag Champion.
Did he say the tag champion?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
So,
like I said, shut up, JBL.
That's
I
it.
forgot.
And what's funny is that, I'm pretty sure that he was like GM of NXT around that time, so you would probably expect him to
was.
know. Maybe they've got plans to have NXT Women's Tag Championships, but they certainly went back then. Jesus, that was a long time ago, but still. Tyler Breeze versus R-Truth. Well, we've obviously made our thoughts on Tyler Breeze, and
I was so worried for this match.
How we feel WWE has not exactly done all they could for Tyler coming onto the main roster. Tyler Breeze applying his lip balm halfway through this bout, like a good vain heel. I've got no problem with him doing that. That's exactly what you should be doing.
Until JBL tore him apart.
Yeah, well,
To refer to him as a puff. It's just like, what? Come on.
No. What's funny then is that when that sort of stuff happens, and then you've got like the two-face commentators trying to pick it back up, saying, "Oh, he's got on NXT, he's a phenomenal athlete. You got Byron Saxton bigging up this guy." It's like, well, this is a little bit off considering he's an uber heel character, right? He's the main character, but still. As you say, Matt, we were talking about this a little bit beforehand. R-Truth got a shit ton of offense in this match.
Yeah.
He landed his finisher, the scissor kick, on Breeze, who kind of treated it as if it was just like a suplex, and it was just an unusual move. But I mean, he kicked out of it, and you expected everyone to go, oh, and everyone was like, okay. It was like, sure.
It's like, cool.
The fans were like, oh, all right, sure. Breeze then lands the beauty shot not long after that. It wasn't a special match. It's just one of the matches that really Breeze should have had like 3 weeks ago coming into Raw. As an enhancement match, but he is having his match against Ziggler at the pay-per-view. That was confirmed today, so at very least is that. So talking of Ziggler against Ambrose is next. Another quarterfinal match. Sorry. Ziggler for some reason has put American football-esque black lines under his eyes, a little bit like Mojo Rawley on NXT.
To be fair, he's been doing that for a while now.
Really? I hadn't noticed, to be honest. He's been in limbo so long. Really, he hasn't got really he's in that storyline now with Tyler Breeze, but really that isn't exactly going the full 90 miles an hour or He's
Oh
not,
yeah, that's true.
and even the the feud he was in with Rusev beforehand is that there was so many stops on that train ride. It really wasn't worth getting on in the first place. So, but I did like the dynamic here, at very least at the beginning, of Ziggler grounding Ambrose, who is obviously a brawler, trying to use his superior mat-based wrestling to ground the brawler. And then obviously towards the end it got a little bit more like, okay, you hit me, I hit you, but I thought it was okay. I thought this match was alright. Not as good as the
match.
the Neville Owens match, and not as good as the match the other match that we're going to talk about. But I thought it was okay. Ambrose lands the dirty deeds. I thought this match was a little bit too long for my liking. It kind of seemed like it was going nowhere at some points, but
Yeah, I mean there were points in it was almost like paced horribly.
yeah, no, I agree with you there. They built up to some sort of crescendo, but I didn't really feel really satisfied towards the end of it. And I'm happy that Ambrose won, but by no means is it a bad match. I think when you put people like Ambrose and Ziggler in the ring, the expectations of them are so high to begin with. So
Yeah,
with the match at the start of the show, even more so. But it was okay. It just wasn't as great as that. So yeah, Ambrose lands the dirty deeds. He will go on to face Kevin Owens in the semi-finals at Survivor Series, and he will win that, and he will go on to face Roman Reigns. I'm fully sure that will happen. After the match, Ambrose tells us how he's going to throw all the rules out the windows. No more suits, Matt. Less talking.
Yeah, he's going to replace Michael Cole with a fish tank.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, which, to be honest, there may be... at least there'll be a drop in Twitter references. But
that's it. I mean, I'd be okay with that.
I'd be alright with that. Let's give it a try. Anything's better than what they've got at the moment. Even though, to be honest, he isn't really the main issue.
Bring back the coal mine and then flood it.
Oh, really? How about let's make a JBL mine and do that, because
tank.
JBL is the main and Byron. To be honest, I like Byron Sachs on NXT is far better than he is on Raw, because on Raw he's just like, I hate the way he comes off as very fake. Yeah. Like everything's rehearsed for that guy when he's like, oh my god, what a great match! Yeah, oh man, this is so great, and it's like,
oh come on, like I think it was later on, but there's that point where it's like they're doing their usual, hey guys, look at this card that says that network's cheaper, and there's Byron Saxton dancing with his.
Yeah, I
was like, really?
Yeah, it comes off like, and to be honest, what's really funny about it is that he probably is quite happy when he's saying these things. He probably means them, but the way he's going about it is he's doing and acting a way that he thinks the likes of Vince McMahon and everyone that want him to do so. So it comes off as him being really fake to me. It comes off that he's not really him. He's, I don't know. I'm not keen. It's like I said, if there's any of them really there that I would keep, it ironically it probably would be Michael Cole, if I'm honest, but still JBL definitely can go. He's done. He was drowning 2 years ago, let alone what's going on now.
So the one thing I hated, like sort of going back to Saxton, which is like everything that was going on NXT with just sort of the to and fro between Saxton and Owens, and we get none of that on Raw. It's like, it was so good.
And that was golden, the back and forth that they would have, and Corey Graves, which I still think is probably the best. The announcer I like the most in WWE is Corey Graves by clear mile, but I don't know, it's still. And by the way, when he's freaking out about Eva Marie and how great she is, even then I'm like, man, you're coming off really bad here. Like, I know you're good, but I can't buy that you think that she's good. I can't get it, but still. Ambrose says he wants more pyro, he wants breakfast for dinner, and he's going to make the entire WWE the Ambrose Asylum if he becomes champion. So, there is that. New Day against Ryback and the Usos. And they are next. They've been mused, by the way, the New Day, that the only anniversary people are talking about is the 25 years of The Undertaker, and of course the 2-year anniversary of LTW. They're talking about that as well. As people should be talking about New Day's 1-year anniversary as a team, back when they were boring as shit. So
how could we forget?
They were boring as shit when they started, let's just be honest. They're not now. They're annoyed that Taker was on a talk show and that the Usos were on SportsCenter, and then they mock Usos' injury. Big E's granddad apparently told him, when life gives you booty, you make booty aid. I'm not sure I want to drink the booty aid. I
would rather not.
Yeah.
Booty aid.
I don't think one that's sanitary. Or even like, you know, like you'd be able to stomach that sort of shit. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stay away from booty aid. Maybe he meant booty
Booty.
sweat. You know, remember booty sweat, that drink from Tropical Thunder or whatever it was called? Booty sweat. Maybe you meant that. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Triple Thunder.
Yeah. That is a funny movie, by the way. Just for
Jack Black.
Robert Downey Jr. Just, as we should say, blacking up, as they call it on that show. So, which was quite funny. So, best part of this match, by the way, I thought was when Big E tells Ryback he's a stupid sucker while slapping his head like Ryback does. I love Big E, honestly. I think he's brilliant. And yes, it is. While it is uncomfortable to see him gyrate and enjoy it that much, at the same time, I simply can't look away.
Thing is, he's the proper king of Twitter. Because like I saw someone tweet him, it's just like, "Can you not dance? It's like traumatizing my boy." And he's just like, "Tell me like your row and seat number. I want to stare him in the eyes."
Yeah, he's brilliant, isn't he? To be honest, even before the New Day stuff, he was quite. Every now and then, he put a reply on Twitter or something. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. So the match is eventually stopped when Ryback shoves the referee in a fit of rage. He was probably trying to impress Brock Lesnar, but you'll never shove an official better than Brock Lesnar did at Hell in a Cell.
Oh, that's it.
That doctor has still not been seen, by the way. He's still orbiting the Earth, I'm sure.
That's it. You know when they brought in a local doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's gone. He shoved him so hard his skin remained, but his body went. That's how what happened. So New Day are then expelled from the ring by by Ryback and the Usos, and there hasn't been any tag title match announced for Survivor Series. I do expect like if they're going to make a makeshift Survivor Series match, it probably will involve these guys. So there is that, and probably New Day, and then might make a few other guys that don't have a match, stick them together against the faces. You can easily see it happening. It's not hard. Cesaro speaks to Triple H backstage. Well, Triple H speaks to him, more likely. Tripp says he's seen too many guys like Cesaro who have what it takes, but just doesn't have that little bit extra, Matt. That little bit extra.
They needed the final push.
That's it.
Isn't it?
He tells Cesaro that maybe it's his time to be the man. Cesaro, by the way, is looking at him as if, I'd never take this on, man. If I was Cesaro, I would eat this up. I would go, fair enough. All I've ever needed is management to get behind me anyway. Fuck it, yeah, sure.
Where do I sign?
Yeah. And I do like this.
Especially in the match, and I'm just like, he's not over.
Oh, he's certainly over. 100% is he over. I like this idea of Triple H surveying the land, by the way, choosing who's going to be the next chosen one. I like that.
Like, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
But just take the offer.
Yeah.
But quite a lot of people have turned it down, which I find quite bizarre.
Yeah, to be honest. Apparently, last week on the England show, when Reigns turned down his offer, apparently there were tons of people booing. Apparently the whole arena was like, why wouldn't you do it? Like, just take the fucking offer, mate. Set up your family because you want to do it the right way. It's like, I don't know, even then I was thinking a little bit like, that's a little bit stupid. Just fucking do it. He's literally giving you a championship. Like, that's just the way things have changed. You know, nowadays people are like, yeah, we're an economic downfall. Take the fucking money. Like, why would you be so much of an idiot?
Is that what you're offering me?
Yeah.
Done.
Now, WWE are missing out on their chance of making a hard-hitting show, an actual drama show, away from WWE, where Roman Reigns doesn't win, and he has to explain to his wife and child why he can't afford to put money, food on their plate anymore.
Yeah. I'm like, I can only just imagine it's like that American Dad episode where not American Dad, Cleveland guy, the Cleveland show, where he just like gets signed off, but he just like, just takes the time off.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't
got no
work.
job doing anything.
Yeah, that's it. But of course, I just thought it'd be funny if they do like a Breaking Bad style show with Roman Reigns just like sobbing because his wife wants to leave him because he just didn't take the fucking idea of, just taking the belt and all the money and all the fame and yeah.
That's it. It could have been so easy.
It could have been. Oh well. Talking of Roman Reigns, who I do expect will be champion anyway, so this is all a moot point. Reigns against Cesaro. So, first of all, before we talk about this match, Reigns goes into the ring and then goes on to pontificate to the crowd. By the way, this is where I think everyone can agree with us when I say this. This is where Reigns is at his absolute weakest as a character. Like,
oh, yeah.
When he's out there just talking about, this is how I feel about it, and this happened last week, and this is what Triple H said to me. I'm like, yeah, I was there. I kind of watched it, mate. Like,
that's it.
I don't care.
We need you to cut a promo, but I can't cut promos.
I just like all he had to say, right? All he had to say in this situation as the ass kicker Reigns, if you want him to be good to the other faces, you just get him to get a mic and say, I don't care if I respect you, Cesaro. I'm going through you tonight. Get your ass out here so I can do that right now. That's all he had to say. Instead, he spends like 5 minutes going on about what happened last week, and Triple H wants me to do this, and I feel like I don't want to do this, and I want to do it. I'm like, I don't care how you feel. You're supposed to be an ass kicker.
Yeah. Be the muscle, damn it.
Yeah. At very least, if you're going to tell us how you feel, don't spend 3 minutes explaining to me what I already know, because it'll get me bored, and I won't care what you say. But they keep making him do these sort of promos every now and then, but the more they do it, the more they'll realise that people just won't give a shit. So, there is that. Now, here you go. Cesaro and Reigns put on a pro wrestling clinic.
Oh, don't they just?
And, guys, there's still a lot of Roman Reigns haters out there. We've said on this show that we want Roman Reigns to be champion. We want him to be a star. Really do. I think the guy is criminally underrated by the internet fans. Right?
Easily, yeah.
I honestly do. I think that especially the course of this month, he had that great match at Hell in a Cell against Wyatt, which was phenomenal. I gave that match of the night. I'm giving this match of the night. I thought this was better than the Neville-Owens match. And that's quite debatable. Yeah. But I do firmly believe this was a better match.
Yeah, I can agree. I think it was a lot of good turn of events, considering you had everything. Jesus, like, you had Reigns, like, battling through a busted arm, and just, we got the Cesaro swing, and just, like, everything.
The back and forth, they managed to get Matt. Here's the best thing I could tell you. They managed to get that crowd, which, by the way, had shown that they had the capacity to be quite dead at some points.
Yeah.
They got that crowd into a fever pitch at multiple points in this match.
Proper crazy go.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about them popping. I mean a fever pitch as in constant, in the match. 100% chanting into the match, popping at all, even some of the small moves, they were into it. The psychology of the match, the back and forth, the wrestling, there was very little mistakes, if at all any mistakes in the course of this match. And to the fans that don't like Roman Reigns, listen, I'm not going to be able to change your mind. But yeah, sure, this Cesaro was a big part of this match, but so was Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was easily a huge part of why this match was so good.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to say that it was all Cesaro is just so narrow-minded. It takes two to tango, guys. You really don't. You can't. I guarantee you, that, like, the very idea that some of these people are going, "Oh, Cesaro made this match." The only reason it was good is because Cesaro did everything. I'm like,
I would disagree.
What do you mean?
I don't think Cesaro was key. I think it's just a real fair mix of the pair.
Yeah, you disagree with these people that are saying that one person can make a phenomenal five-star match on their own.
So important, yeah.
Now. People can, the Bret Harts of this world can have a great match with a bad wrestler, but it will never be as good as this, right? You need two good wrestlers to have a match this good. So, Reigns deserves his credit, guys. We've said it here. What did we say? The episode that we said a couple of weeks ago, it's Roman's time to reign. It is. We need stars. Let's make Roman Reigns a massive star. That's it. Let's do it. I actually think, Matt, I may be going a little bit too ahead of myself, but still. 15 years down the line, when they've got a best of Roman Reigns, maybe when he's ended his career, maybe along those lines. He's been a multi-time world champion, sold out arenas, legend in his own right. Hopefully there's lots of other legends that are thought of in the same way as him. Instead of just having one, there's like 5. You got Ambrose thought of in the same way as Reigns, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, instead of just having John Cena, right? Hopefully that's the way. But still, at the end of his career, he sits down and they're saying, look, Roman, great career, great, you've done great for us. Hope you enjoy it. We're going to bring out a DVD. Here, what matches would you like? What is it? Some of your greatest matches that you had? I honestly think that he'll look back on this match and think a little bit like the Daniel Bryan he had at Fastlane this year and say, I think that was one of the matches that proved to people that I am a good singles wrestler.
Oh yeah, it's definitely sort of raises that question. It's just sort of like, if there was any a time where where other people doubted me or I even doubted myself, that was that moment where like, hell yeah. Yeah. I honestly think that the Wyatt match and this match almost go hand in hand in terms of showing people. The Wyatt match was different because that was special conditions. You got a lot of weapons. It's less taxing on your technique as a wrestler and your psychology, right? Yeah. I'm not saying it's easier. It's obviously a lot harder on your body, but there's a lot more options at your disposal. This match was just a straight shoot, one-on-one match. Yeah. With the usual rules of wrestling match, countouts, DQs, everything. This is the purest form of what wrestling is. One person against one person in a singles match, and it was brilliant. It was fantastic. And the fact that there's even this was like this, even though it was the semi-final, no, the quarterfinals. Yeah. It was still just like, this could have been for the belt. Yeah, this could have been for the world championship. Yeah. You know, I honestly do. And this is why it's great having these number one contendership matches and having these tournaments, because they get so much more response in these matches when there's something on the line. If this had just been a random match for Roman Reigns, then it wouldn't have meant fuck all. You know, people wouldn't have. It would have been a great match, but people wouldn't have thought about it in the same way. There was something to wrestle for here. You know. That's it. So these guys, like I said, they put on a clinic. It's awesome. Go out and watch this match. It's fantastic. Honestly, I cannot sell this match any further. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Reigns picks up the victory. There was a mad sequence at the end where it looked like Cesaro may have just got ahead of himself. Maybe was about to land the neutralizer, but after a sequence there, he gets hit by a spear, and Reigns just basically, with the last amount of energy he's got in his body, just pins the guy. He looks like he's spent. One thing I quite liked is that's true, but it was the like the real change around of the crowd. Yeah, it's just sort of how you sort of like the moment where it's like the moment Reigns was the one standing tall, it's just like boo, and the moment Cesaro just threw even a single uppercut, it's just like it's just the transition of the way the crowd bought into it was just great. Because the excellent, I'd like to believe that even the most diehard fans, when they've seen such an excellent match, they can get behind it. Like, just put all that stuff aside and just accept that these two guys were phenomenal on this. Just night. Went to town, yeah. So, well, the fact that we nearly got to see the sort of like the deadlift superplex was like, oh yeah. It didn't happen. And I tell you what, even without that, this match was phenomenal. It really was. Pay-per-view worthy, guys. This is a pay-per-view quality match. So much so that I know they want to go with a Reigns Ambrose finish. I would have been fine having, like as you say there, Matt, having Roman Cesaro having the same exact match on the finals at Survivor Series. I think people, if they were going to buy into Reigns winning the belt in a match of this quality, I think that certainly would have helped. Yeah. You know, so there we are. Reigns does move on. I hope Cesaro is remembered for this match just as much as Reigns is by management, and they give him his just desserts, because the guy has been pulling off. Come on, guy, all that stuff about he's not that entertaining. He's a bit. Remember that tag he had? He's boring, right? Remember that tag that management had on him? He's boring. Fuck me, that was everything Cesaro's been doing has not been boring. It's been one of the best things on Raw, really. So, there we are. Commentary speak about the death of Nick Bockwinkel this week. As I said, it's been an awful year. We covered that earlier on.
But
This is the one thing I found quite odd about that whole match as well.
Go on.
It was like easily the best of the night. Main event? No.
oh yeah, this match wasn't the main event. Yeah, that was a bit odd. But,
Oh, there were matches after this.
but in terms of in-ring quality, it would never reach the heights of this. And to be honest, it would be very fucking hard for them to do. I don't blame them to, but. Dudley Boys against the Ascension. We spoke about this a little bit earlier on. This is a quick match. Dudley just get the win. That's really it. I can't really say much else about it. And yeah, the Ascension losing 2 matches this week. They can't buy a match. They really can't.
Not at all.
And they're like I said, their leader Stardust, if he's their leader, I'm not even quite sure, was nowhere to be seen. So obviously he didn't give a shit. So there you are. Don't even know what the Dudleys are doing anymore, if I'm honest. So there is that. I'm sure they might be in that Survivor Series match that's hastily shoved together, but still. Alberto Del Rio and Zeb Coulter are speaking to Renee Young backstage. Zeb Coulter says, in Mex America, if you earn something, you get to keep it. And unless, in everywhere else where you earn something and you don't. So
that's it. I was going to say, what if I earned it through devious means?
I don't know about you, Matt. I just think that this is like really stupid. It's like, in Mex America, as if it's like an actual country that has
So if
land
it's a
mass.
legit thing.
It's like,
Yeah. Just because you stitch 2 flags together doesn't make it a country.
it's a little bit like, okay, but they're treating it as if it's like their own country, and the only 2 people that live in Mex America is Alberto Del Rio and Zeb Coulter, and I'm like, but you're just talking about America and Mexico. Like, I don't know. I just think it's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But still, I know what they're going for. It just doesn't really make much sense. Triple H shows up, sells his offer to Del Rio, including the opportunity to slap all the racist people he likes. Quite the offer, really, to be honest. We know Del Rio does like slapping racist people. In fact, I would pay to see him do that again, honestly. It's quite fun.
All the slaps.
Yeah. This leads into the final quarterfinal match of the night, Del Rio against Kalisto, which included an awkward moment where Del Rio inadvertently ripped off Kalisto's mask and then helped him put it back on, which was...
That's ridiculous. See, the thing is, when I was watching it, I was like, is that because he botched?
You think?
He botched.
Yeah,
did
he went too aggressive, didn't he, with doing it? He just...
We know he does that, like the handstand, then into the back elbow sort of thing. He completely missed it.
Yeah.
And he sort of like awkwardly slid down Del Rio.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, oh. And then he pulled his mask off and like, uh-oh.
Yeah. To be honest, I thought, like, obviously it was a mistake. They didn't mean to have the mask pop off. But then it just looked very weird. Then Del Rio, who clearly as a character wouldn't give 5 shits that he did it, was like, okay, let me help you just fucking shove this back on a little bit. It was a bit awkward. Not a long match, this one. Del Rio cleans off Kalisto. He does that corner double stomp, which seems to be his new finisher. He hasn't even used the arm breaker since he returned, so...
I don't like it.
You don't like that finish, no? It seems a bit, like,
So.
awkward to set that up, don't you think?
Yeah. Like, you're almost like hoping for the Tree of Woe situation.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, now I can... No, it's not going to work.
Maybe he'll still break out the arm breaker from time, but he hasn't though. So,
Yeah.
or do that kick. He's got a few finishes. It's just that seems to be his flavour of his return so far. But and then in which case they need to name it something. I don't know, but
It's true.
maybe we should call it the Mex American Grill Burger, because whenever I hear Mex America, I just think it's a burger.
It's Tex-Mex, isn't it?
Like Tex-Mex. That's exactly what it is. They just need a Texan character to join their Mex American, just like cook up loads of shit, Tex-Mex,
That's it. Just like, he might not be Texan, but like, just Heath Slater turns up.
Just randomly out of nowhere, because there's nothing going on for Heath Slater at the moment.
He's Southern. He plays a Southern American character.
Oh, well, there you are.
Fit in.
A guy who, as I said, looks like he could probably dispatch the Ascension on his own. That's how bad that team are getting. But
yeah.
They announced Miz TV on SmackDown will house the Final Four in the WWE title tournament. By the way, on SmackDown, there was like no one there on the tapings.
Yeah.
A lot of people were initially
Was it,
stating
hurricane warning or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of fans were just saying, oh, these are people who are showing with their wallet, not that they don't want to. And it's like the show was fine and the tickets were sold. As far as I know, it was, as you say, it was a weather thing that stopped a lot of these people being there.
Yeah.
So all those people going on, oh, yes, WWE are finally getting it. It's like almost like TNA, or they're losing. It's like, no, it's not really like that. Like, it's
Not at all.
not at all. So, if anyone's got any more evidence to the contrary, I'd be more than happy to do it. But all the evidence I saw was the fact that it was a weather warning. That's what I heard. So, still, Divas Championship contract signing. We're at the end of the show, and this was the final segment of the night and the source of a lot of controversy over the course of this week. Michael Cole says the WWE Universe wants to know where the friendship went between Charlotte and Paige, as they're both staring at each other in the ring. Paige says there's no space for friendship when you're a champion. Charlotte wonders how Paige ended up so bitter and how she wants to be like her, like the British badass that she was, Matt. She's still got a bit of British badass in her. I mean,
Yeah.
still kicking people around. They're talking about how they grew up the same way, about their families going off and wrestling. And then Charlotte brings up...
The thing is, I quite liked how Charlotte was just like, yeah, watching them on TV as they all wrestle. It's like, no, I'm pretty sure Paige didn't do that.
Yeah.
To that extent.
Not to that extent, yeah. I mean, no disrespect to the, the Knight family.
The Knights, yeah.
But, I mean, Ric Flair is a god of wrestling, and the Knight family are obviously fantastic, but... Let's just be honest.
They're just gods of British wrestling.
Exactly, right? One's worldwide and one isn't. It's just the only difference. But still, I get what she was meaning, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But then she brings up her brother, of course, which passed away not too recently, if you remember. The whole situation of Rick bringing that up during a WWE video game event, the one that got Jim Ross fired, funny enough.
Oh, yeah.
So, there is that. She brought it up and says how Paige was there for her. And it felt genuine from her. She was genuinely quite cut up about it. Paige says that she was using Charlotte all along. And Charlotte does fire back saying, well, you didn't do that quite well because I'm the champion now. I thought that was a good point, to be honest. And then Charlotte says she won't be champion forever, but she won't lose it to someone like Paige. And then Paige brings it out saying, well, first of all, she calls Ric Flair an old fart. And then she drops the bomb saying that Charlotte's baby brother obviously didn't have much fight in him, did he? So the crowd response didn't really pop to that much. Not as much as you would expect.
It's got lots of shock to it.
Yeah. They brawled, Charlotte freaking out. And then the show ends with referees keeping Charlotte from fighting any further with Paige, who's trying to get out. Her jacket's all ripped up and all that.
Yeah.
They fought with each other. So... I'm sure that a lot of people are wondering what we're going to say about this, the whole bringing up of Charlotte's now deceased brother. Okay, so first of all, this is obviously going to bring up a topic in regards to bringing up deaths in wrestling as a whole. I'm sure some people are going to talk about Randy Orton and the way he used it, and Batista the way he used it, and there's obviously been a few other instances in the same breath, and stuff like that. I'm just genuinely not a fan of bringing up, the deceased in any sort of wrestling storyline, really.
True.
I'm not, when I've always said that when Batista did it, I'd rather he didn't, but I didn't think it was offensive. It was more of a statement when Batista said, Eddie's dead. That's all he said. Now, Randy Orton's went way too far about Eddie Guerrero. The stuff he said, I thought was...
quite close to the mark, wasn't it?
I thought he went well over the line, personally.
Yeah.
I thought that was well past the mark. Let's go through all the situations here, because Charlotte's mother tweeted out that she wasn't informed that the angle was going to happen and that she was quite distressed of what it was.
Flair said the same thing as well.
Yeah, he said that he cried over the angle, that he was distraught over. Was not quite happy with what happened, but you could tell that with that he was choosing his words carefully for his daughter's sake.
Yeah.
He's not going to come out and say and condemn WWE for it, because Charlotte's in the company and he doesn't want to get in the way of his daughter's success. So he's choosing his words very carefully, shall we say. Charlotte's mother, not as much. You know, she was quite. And come on, not as if I can blame her. There's 3 scenarios of what happened here, Matt, about why this was said, and I'm going to go over all of them.
Okay.
First of all, which is what I think is the least likely of the 3, which unfortunately is how the one that most people think actually happened, which is what Paige just said it on the fly. Just thought of it and said it. Wasn't even in the script, just came out with it because she thought it would bring a lot of heat, so she said it on the fly. Now, I'm extremely doubtful that is the case because they were building up to it in the script. They were building up to her saying it. Charlotte was basically putting herself... Yeah. You know, she basically walked into it, right? So, I certainly don't believe that was the case. I think that's completely unlikely. Are you under that same assumption as well?
Yeah.
A lot of people think that is the case. I honestly believe not. I don't think that Paige would be in a lot of hot water if that had been the case, and there may have already been a statement gone out if that was. And honestly, I don't think it was. Right? I think this was scripted. Right? That what she said was planned all along. The second, and what I think is the most likely scenario, is that Charlotte herself okayed the script. She saw it and said, fine, let's use it. I'm okay. Let's do it. And either didn't have enough time or thought it wasn't... It
was her decision.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that she didn't felt the need to contact her family and say, just don't watch this show, or this is what's going to happen at the end of the show. And obviously then they found out by watching Raw, which was obviously quite a shitty way to bring up these memories of Reed, which was his name, right? And the third one is she okayed the script, informed everyone, but told them to act as if they hadn't, and it's just some gigantic work to get some controversy. Which, if that is the case, then I mean, even that's a little bit more despicable, really, than anything. But
well, that's the one thing that I said, wasn't it?
Go on.
And just like, what you think? It's like, well, maybe they're just playing it up.
Yeah.
Like you said, like nobody from, like there's no inside scoop that Paige is in any trouble for this.
No.
There's nothing to suggest that.
I think
you've got like the whole Flair family, like we're so outraged. We weren't even informed of this to be in the case. And then, like, I use the same example I used when I spoke to you about it. Ric Flair would say that the sky is green to protect the business.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, that is certainly a possibility. I would probably go with the second scenario, that she okayed the script and just didn't tell people. That's probably the way I'd saw it. Maybe she thought she couldn't say no, when she obviously clearly could.
Yeah.
Or maybe she was the one who came up with it. Maybe she was like, okay, yeah, it will get a genuine response from me, and it will get me more emotionally invested. It will make the rivalry... You know, I don't know. But I firmly believe Charlotte okayed that before it went out. I firmly believe. So any sort of hurt on her family would probably go down to herself, because she didn't say no or didn't advise them.
Well, it's kind of be nice to think it's just like that Charlotte was just reading the script, but didn't even bother reading out anyone else's other than her own parts.
Yeah, that would be.
It's not like out of nowhere. Like, yeah, okay, if Paige dropped it because she, stepped away from the agreed script, but I don't think it's going to be the case.
Nah. Now let's talk about them using it. Yeah, we've gone over the scenarios which we think is the most likely and everything along those lines. Obviously, our fans are free to make their own assumptions and everything along those lines, but. Here's what I think. Personally, I think when you bring up deaths of people in storyline, I think it's a cop-out. I think it's a way for the writers to get extremely cheap response without coming up with an insult or storyline that could have gone in instead of that. I think it's a cop-out by the writers. I honestly do. Now, obviously, another part of what fans are saying, that come up, and one thing that you had said, Matt, and I've got a perfect response to this. A lot of people saying fans are all these people moaning about the Attitude Era was so much better, and then something edgy like this happens, and suddenly they're getting all PC about it again. I'm not going to sit back and say that the Attitude Era didn't use deaths and all this sort of way, but they pushed the envelope in so many other ways, as well. right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, so the Attitude Era worked because they could reference people being dead, right? That was not the case. They pushed the envelope in terms of sexual appeal, the matches, the violence, the storylines. There was so much other stuff in the Attitude Era that pushed the envelope. It's not like that was the one thing, you know. And to be honest, most fans don't want the Attitude Era back. It's done. It's happened.
Yeah.
The Attitude Era wouldn't work in the parameters of today, right? It just wouldn't. So that's my response to that. I think that's a very narrow-minded response, to be honest. You know.
Yeah.
But that's my response. Like I said, I'll just finish with saying that I think it's a cop out with WWE. I'm disappointed with them because I thought that maybe they would have a little bit more in them to come up with a storyline that would have sold this rivalry a bit more than just using something cheap that wasn't needed at the end of it. But what's your thoughts on it overall of the fact they used this? What's your thoughts?
It didn't bother me at all.
You didn't care at all?
No.
Okay.
I quite liked it.
Mm.
Like obviously I came across all the controversy about it first, and I was like, okay, I'll go with an open mind. I'm like, well, they're clearly building to it. Like, she wouldn't mention it. It's just sort of like, that's basically just going, yeah, all this bad stuff's happened, and you're a heel. It's like, you're right, I am a heel.
Yeah. Okay.
That's kind of the one thing I sort of didn't like. It's just sort of like, it was just like she essentially fed ammunition to a heel.
She did, yeah.
So that's gonna happen.
Yeah. I'm certainly not going to blame you for thinking that way, but I do think that WWE, if they were a better writing team, then they could have got a better response with a line that wasn't nearly as offensive. But that's just what I think, you know.
Yeah.
The fact is, it's dirty ground anyway. Whenever you bring up someone that's died, that person's going to mean something to someone, and they won't take that as if with the same knowledge that, say, Ric Flair would.
Yeah.
They would find it quite offensive. I mean, I'm sure that maybe Charlotte's mother, who did post up on Twitter, probably did see it in the most heinous of ways, and she was genuinely upset with it. So I honestly do believe that WWE. I think it's just them. I was disappointed that they felt they had to do that to get a response when there's tons of other ways if they're just creative. They could have got a better storyline over the case of this 4 weeks. But to a means to an end. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say that it doesn't, at very least, make this seem like a match that's going to snap.
Yeah.
You know, that Charlotte's going to kill this woman. So it got some sort of response out. I just think that WWE could have gone a different way around it. But each to their own. Everyone's going to have a different opinion on it. But that's our thoughts on it there. So our review overall of the show, I thought the show was very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was
very good wrestling.
Yeah, I think it was a show built on professional wrestling, which WWE often doesn't do, right?
So forgets that they're a product of professional wrestling.
Yeah. 2 exemplary matches, one of them being pay-per-view world title quality, and all these matches meaning something, having an end game. In terms of selling, so maybe some of the other lower storylines, maybe not as much, and maybe we'll give them that. But I honestly think this Raw is well worth a watch for those 2 matches alone.
Oh, yeah.
So I definitely give this a thumbs up, guys. Go out and watch it. And go watch those matches again down the line. Maybe, you know, if you were going to tell me which one out of them would I go back and watch for a second time, I'd definitely go with the Reigns and Cesaro one.
Oh, yeah. Like, gun to my head, like Reigns and Cesaro.
Yeah, definitely. So, Matt, we will be finishing up straight after we give our Survivor Series predictions.
That's very true.
So let's give those predictions right now. Roman Reigns versus Alberto Del Rio. Who are you giving this one?
Reigns.
Yeah, Reigns. I think it's quite easy. Reigns. I think it'll be a good match, though. I think this may be the opening match. Maybe it's definitely going to be one of the tournament matches that opens the show, and they're probably going to get those 2 out of the way early. So yeah, I believe Reigns. Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose. Ambrose. I think this will be a close match. Ambrose snatches the victory, then that's going to set up that Ambrose-Reigns final.
Yep.
Charlotte versus Paige, talking about that. Who do you think's walking out with a belt?
Charlotte.
Yeah, I think Charlotte too. I think that Paige will snap at the end of this match, and I don't think this will be the last match that these ladies have with each other. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I wouldn't want it to be.
Yeah. I think they've got a makings of a heated rivalry here, and I'm not asking for 3 matches. I'll be fine with just 2 pay-per-view matches, and they go in a different direction. But I think that this is a good opportunity, actually, for these women to go out there and show us really what this Divas Revolution should have been about from the very beginning. So there is that. Brothers of Destruction versus the Wyatt family. Oh, you're torn.
Brothers.
You're going brothers. What made you think Wyatt's there? I'm quite intrigued.
Just because the sheer shock value of it.
Or if they actually beat them and it gets them over.
At Taker's 25th anniversary and all that.
Yeah. I'm going to go with brothers, though. I don't think Vincent's going to do that. So, yeah, I'm going with Taker and Kane to win. As much as I'd like to see the Wyatts get the win, and they do actually beat them and they carry them off, and that's them done. You know, I say that though, but that wouldn't really be the greatest end for those characters, and I don't think they're ready to go out that way. But still, yeah, I think Brothers of Destruction, and I actually don't think this match will be that good. I think it's just going to be a showcase match. So
yeah,
there you go. It may even be the match where Strowman takes his first loss, but there we go. Dolph Ziggler versus Tyler Breeze.
Ugh, Ziggler.
You got Ziggler over Breeze?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'll stand by it.
All right, I'm going Breeze. I think he's going to win this one by being a heel or Summer Rae gets involved. That's how I see it going down. But you could be quite right, Matt, because then this might be the thing that makes Tyler Breeze snap, and then he goes after Ziggler even further. So,
yeah, not
fully far-fetched to believe it. I do think, however, though, Matt, I think this match will either be really good, or if it's placed as a filler between the Undertaker match and the main event, then it's going to be a very quick match that just gets done very quickly.
It's not
like a
filler.
Yeah.
I hope they actually give him a chance. Like, hey, look, this guy can go.
Yeah.
Just give him someone to go against.
Yeah. And Ziggler's a good guy for him to wrestle against, so
yeah,
the opportunity is there. I just don't think he'll get it. I think more than likely this will be the buffer match, because the women nowadays just don't be put in that slot, because that was part of the problem with having the women on the roster in the first place, being used as they were, so they were being used as buffers for the men's matches, which they aren't anymore. So this leads to our main event. By the way, this... we'll talk about this, the lack of Survivor Series match in a minute. But Reigns and Ambrose being the main event, the winner of this match becomes the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Matt, who do you think's walking out with the belt? The thought for you, Matt.
Reigns.
Think Reigns. How do you think he's going to win this title?
I won't call that much.
Okay.
I couldn't say. It's a tough one, because like WWE could quite easily just go, he's still getting booed. Ambrose doesn't get booed. Give it to Ambrose.
One of these men, in my opinion, will walk out as Triple H's new guy. And whoever that is will walk out as champion.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Ambrose. I think it's going to be Roman. I think this is the show that Roman Reigns turns heel. I think he turns heel, wins the belt. Because the way that I saw Ambrose's promo on Raw is almost a little bit like Triple H. Why would Triple H want to work with a guy who wants to change that much? You know, that's not Ambrose's role. You know, it's they want a champion that goes out there, wrestles, and is the face of the company. But they make the choices of what to actually changes on the show. And maybe his words eventually wear down Roman Reigns. One of the other things that I think they can end up doing here is that someone helps Roman Reigns win the belt, but he can act as if, I didn't want that to happen, man. I didn't want them to. He just came out of his own volition. Like, I'm really sorry. Listen, I'll make you the number one contender. We'll wrestle each other at the next pay-per-view. And then the next pay-per-view is when he's like, actually, it was me. I've taken his offer. Fuck you. I'm the champion.
Yeah.
I beat you. And that's how you get another main event match out of these guys.
That's good.
So there's another 2 ways of doing it. I do think Roman Reigns will be the guy, though. That's what I'm going with. I would be very shocked if Roman Reigns wins, or Ambrose wins, and neither of them take up that offer. And they're like,
yeah.
you know. I do honestly think we're gonna have whoever walks out of this will be the new authority guy, and he will be the world champion. That's how I see it going down. So. But you're going with Reigns, but you don't want to say exactly how. I very much went Reigns as the authorities guy. So there we go. So let's talk about the lack of a Survivor Series match. Now, there hasn't been one announced. I do hugely expect that there'll be one rushed together on the show, probably involving the New Day, probably the Dudley Boys, Ryback, the Usos. You probably, there's probably a match there.
To be fair, it's probably going to be like Dudley's, Usos, Ryback versus like New Day and 2 others.
Yeah. That they'll just come up with.
Don't know which 2.
Yeah, basically any of the heels that lost in the first round of the World Title Tournament. You could.
Oh yeah.
The few you could shoehorn in there, really, but I'm sure there will be one.
Saying that, there wasn't that many heels who have lost already.
Yeah. They'll find people.
Who lost that early on, if you think about it.
But you know what I mean? They're all literally on the day. They'll just look in the back of their roster and say, "Who fancies being in a pay-per-view match tonight?" And you're heel. Okay, you're up.
New Day and Sheamus Barrett.
Yeah, Matt. I think you've pretty much. Yeah, I think I would probably put my hat on that. Literally, Sheamus Barrett being the extra 2, because they look at them as being the higher of the mid-card stars, and they are a tag team now. You're probably dead on there, Matt. To be honest. But listen. I actually think this is quite disgraceful, and I think WWE should be a bit ashamed of their booking, even if they do give us a rushed Survivor Series match, because they've had 4
Survivor
weeks.
Series with no match.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we can't say for certain whether this is just as a result of Rollins' unfortunate injury that triggered it, but then all of a sudden it's just sort of like we still have no mention of a match. It's this weekend, damn it.
Yeah. Okay, listen, I know for sure that the Rollins injury shook everything up. Yeah, clearly. And they had to have new plans. Maybe they had a Survivor Series match planned, but with the people being involved in the tournament, they didn't quite know how to get it going. They should have come up with at least something, because just throwing a match out there, people won't care. Why would they care? It means nothing.
Yeah.
What I would do, if you're going to announce this on the day, which you shouldn't do anyway, I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. You should, on a 3 hours of Raw, you've had 6 hours of television since you've been making up these new ideas of what's going to happen after this rivalry began, right? After Rollins' injury, sorry. So you've had time to come up with something. What I would have said on Raw is like, look, okay, there will be a Survivor Series match, and the winner of it, the winning team will on Raw, the night after Survivor Series, there will be like a 5-man over the top rope, whatever. They'll make a match with 5 guys. The winner of that gets an IC title shot. Bang, that match means something now.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's all we ever wanted.
Yeah. Then you've got a new opponent for Kevin Owens, being the Intercontinental Champion. You've got a match that means something on the pay-per-view, a match that means something on Raw, and you've got a rivalry built up for the next... It makes too much sense. So if they force this together, I hope that they do that, but they're not, to be honest. They're just going to throw this match out and be like, oh, it's Survivor Series, of course we're going to have a traditional Survivor Series match. Here's 5 randoms against 5 randoms.
Yeah.
Which I think is ridiculous, personally. I think WWE should look at that and feel a little bit ashamed of themselves, really, but still. Anything else you want to cover about Survivor Series or Raw in general?
No.
No. I think we're pretty much wrapped up for this episode, guys.
That's about it.
It is indeed. We hope you guys did enjoy the episode, and if you did and you're new to the show, then you can subscribe to the channel. Now you can become one of our almost 500 subscribers. Oh yes. And I hope you did enjoy this show, like I said, regardless of me being, my painkillers are wearing off now. I'm a lot more... I'm going to go take another one before I go to bed. So I'll be...
Fluid thought.
Exactly, yeah. If you do want to send us any tweets on our Twitter handle, then what is that Twitter handle, Matt?
It'll be at Talk Wrestle Pod.
Oh, yeah, that's it. You can also like us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast, and you can like us on there. All those links are in the description below to find out all that social media goodness. If you want to ask us any questions, then those are the places to get that shit done. And obviously in the comments section below as well. A big thanks to all of you for listening to the show. Like I said, apologies we're doing it a little bit earlier on in the week. But I still think we got some good time here, Matt. I don't know. How long have we been doing this episode for?
I don't know. I think I'm probably still doing like an hour 50 or so.
But random, longer than I thought we would. Anyway.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
That. Hope you guys do enjoy Survivor Series. We will be back next week to give our pay-per-view review. Will we be doing that? I'm sure we will.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
We're gonna have to. It's kind of what we do now, isn't it? So
yeah,
we'll be doing the Survivor Series review.
I might not have Survivor Series spoiled for me.
Why?
I'm off the Monday.
Ooh, I'll tell you what. That's interesting, isn't it?
I'll probably still sleep.
You know, the good thing about next Monday is that unlike this week, I won't be having massive needles pumped into my legs.
Delved into your legs, yeah.
Yeah, and hitting my bones under X-ray supervision. So there is that.
Only in Ireland.
Only in the fascinating adventures of my leg, which is botched to whole high heaven. So there we are. All right, guys. I hope you catch. Like I said, I hope you have a great week. Hope you do enjoy the pay-per-view. Go like all our social media stuff, especially our Facebook page, because I'll probably be giving up my thoughts on the pay-per-view and Raw in general before they go up and stuff like that. All that good stuff. And just getting excited for NXT Takeover London. It's going to be here soon. Oh, it's going to be so good.
It's not long now.
All right, guys. Have a great week. We'll catch you all next time.
We'll catch you soon.
Bye-bye.
Right.